What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be going over what I would change about The Flash as a show. Now, once again, this was a video suggestion from one of you guys, so there's the comment right there. Thank you for that suggestion. Also, this is going to be a two-part video. This is going to be part one. It's just going to be me going over what I would change about seasons 1 through 5, because obviously I would change a lot more from seasons 7 and 8 than I would from seasons 1 through 5. Not as much 6, but 6 will still be in part 2. So yeah, let's get right into it to what I would change about The Flash season 1. So season 1, as expected, I really would not change a whole lot. I mean, there's just a few little things, like, at times, I guess Iris was just a bit annoying, and that's like one of the only things I would really change, just, some of Iris's writing, I suppose. And, Barry's suit, I mean, I wish it had the white emblem in season 1. I think that would have been really cool, seeing Barry going up against the Reverse Flash with a white emblem, just sort of, bringing back some more comic book types of things there, but that's really not that big of a deal. And yeah, if you guys can think of anything else that you really did not like about season 1, please comment it below, because I cannot think of a lot that I really was not a fan of in season 1. It was a really good season. I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue that, in season 1 they did reveal that Dr. Wells was the Reverse Flash a little bit early, and while I do see the point there, I think it really went along great with the rest of the season, so I really don't see that as a flaw. So yeah, the only thing I would really change about season 1 would be Iris's writing, and maybe a white emblem, like that would be originally on the suit, and maybe even some gold boots. I think that should have always been on the Flash's suit. But yeah, other than that, not much else about season 1 that I'd change. But season 2, on the other hand, I have a few things that I would change. The first thing is that in episodes 1 and 2, Barry kills the villains of the week without remorse, which, that I did not expect that to happen at all. That's not the type of hero Barry is. They literally could have just said that, that he just defeated the villains instead of actually killing them. I think that definitely would have made a lot more sense. Now, I don't think that's necessarily too big of a problem in the season. So yeah, the only thing I would change about that is just them, just being defeated, not being killed. Also, though, Barry was really annoying in season 2, episode 1, when he wanted to, like, work by himself because he couldn't catch the Reverse Flash or whatever. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but the fact that he was working alone for 6 months and still didn't want any help, it just really, like, I don't know, that just really felt annoying to me. So I would just, have Barry say, like, what, I'm ready for help again, type of thing, instead of just, like, having to accept it because of, everyone forcing themselves back into Star Labs and stuff. So yeah, that was just a little bit aggravating right there. And, this next thing isn't really the Flash's fault, but, the crossover this season wasn't very good. Now, this is sort of leaning over to Legends of Tomorrow, but they definitely should have casted somebody else to play the role of Vandal Savage and just kicked out that entire Felicity scene in the crossover. And then I think that crossover could have been really good. That doesn't really have anything to do with the Flash, but yeah. And then, yeah, the only other thing that I could think of changing in season 2 was just, a few of the weekly villains were kind of lame, like that Tar Pit guy, and the Turtle was kind of lame too. I think they could have changed a few of those and made them more, classic comic book villains. I think that would have been really cool. But overall, this was an amazing season. I don't think there's much you could change about this. But then we go into The Flash Season 3, and the only thing that's like a huge change for me would be Flashpoint. Other than that, I don't think there's a ton of things that I'd change. Of course, there are some things. We'll go over those in just a second, but for now, I want to go over how they should have done Flashpoint. Now, we all know that Flashpoint was a huge disappointment. It wasn't necessarily like a bad episode of The Flash. It was just a huge disappointment and didn't really make any sense. First of all, it was only 1 episode. That's stupid. Flashpoint, I think, should have been at least 5 episodes. And, obviously they can't pull everything straight out of the comics. They can't just say Wonder Woman and Aquaman are having a war. They can't just do that because they can't. I don't think they have the rights to those characters. But they should have at least, like, they should have at least done something similar to that. Like they could have said it was World War III or something like that. So, it's something that makes Barry realize that he really made the wrong choice by saving his mother. Not just like him losing his memories was the reason for him wanting Reverse Flash to kill his mother again. I think that didn't really make any sense. So if they said that, like, if they just had like a little teaser in regard to the comics, like, there's like 2 former heroes are in a war against each other or something like that. I think that could be pretty interesting. So I think they should have definitely done something like that. Then it could have lasted 5 episodes. Barry could have teamed up with some other heroes. That would have been so cool, like some other heroes in Flashpoint. Maybe they could go like the Batman route by saying, like, instead of having Bruce and Thomas Wayne as the two characters, they could have had Oliver and Robert Queen as the two characters. Barry teams up with Robert Queen, aka the Green Arrow. I think that would be awesome. And then, you know, when Barry time travels, he delivers like a letter to Oliver or something like that. I think that would have been super cool, like comic book accurate. And I think I would have really liked to see that instead of the one episode we got of Barry and Kid Flash versus the Rival. I think that was kind of lame. So I think if they changed that and did something similar to what I just went over, I think that would have been so cool. So yeah, I would have Flashpoint be about 5 episodes long with some content like what I just went over in it. And then you'd go right into you'd have like 1 episode of Dr. Alchemy and then go right into the Savitar stuff and the Killer Frost stuff. Now, other things that I would change about the season was just like, it was really dark. I mean, the darkness that it had is actually like starting to grow on me a little bit, but still, like, some places I just, you know, that I was like, you know, The Flash is supposed to be like a more of a lighthearted show, right? But I think, you know, the darkness is still, you know, starting to grow on me. Now, another thing I want to go over, some people really hated that duet episode with Supergirl. I personally actually really enjoyed that. Yes, it may not have made a ton of sense, like with the Flash, but I really enjoyed that episode, and I don't think they should have. I don't think, you know, it deserves as much hate as it gets. And another thing that I think we can all agree on is that Savitar's identity was revealed way too late. I think, you know, everyone probably already knew he was Barry. I don't know why they waited so long to reveal him as Barry. So yeah, I think, you know, a few of those changes would have been, you know, maybe Savitar reveals his identity in like episode 15. Or like when he reveals to Frost, I believe that was what, episode 18, something like that. I think that would have been a decent time too to reveal his identity. So yeah, I just really think they should have changed that, among a few other things in season 3. But overall, I don't think it was that bad of a season. I think, you know, I'd only change a few things, and the big change being Flashpoint. Now, I would change a lot more about The Flash Season 4, and the first thing I want to go over, the episode 1 I thought was pretty good, but then you had, you know, in the first other few episodes, you had some, you know, kind of lame weekly villains, but I'm willing to let that slide because overall, those episodes were still entertaining. But then you get to episode 5, which was centered around, you know, Iris, Felicity, Frost, and Cecile. It was about the bachelor party with Barry and Iris, and this episode was an actual 1 out of 10. This was the first episode of The Flash that I thought was absolutely terrible. It only took them three seasons, and then in season 4, they had a terrible episode. That was the first terrible episode I've ever seen of The Flash. That episode should basically just straight up be deleted out of the show because that one was so bad. The only good thing, or the only sort of good thing in that episode was Barry getting drunk. That was really funny. But other than that, that episode was absolutely terrible. That episode should not be in the season at all. It had no purpose being there. So yeah, anyways, the other things I want to talk about for season 4, the Run Iris Run episode was kind of lame. It just kind of felt like a filler episode that felt like, you know, the first filler episode of the show. And the next thing that I want to go over is the biggest thing for me and why I really don't like season 4 that much, and that is of what they did with the Thinker switching bodies for 9 to 10 episodes. I wouldn't take it out of the season because I agree it was essential to his plan, but they could have just made it like last 3 episodes or so, and then they just like could have him back in his normal face whenever he, you know, takes over Ralph Dibny's body. So yeah, with that said, I think that, you know, him taking over all those bodies should have still happened like later in the season. I think they could have started that storyline of him taking over a bunch of bodies in like episode 15, and that goes till episode 18 when Ralph was originally taken over. So they could do, you know, until Barry gets out of prison, and then they start that Thinker taking over bodies storyline. I think that would have been cool. But I think they also should have done something along the lines of the Thinker like needs to be in his chair in order to use his new abilities, so then he could have his original face and like be in his thinking chair, because I'm a really big fan of the Thinker in the comics, and I wish they kept him in his chair on the show because I think he looked so cool. He was a super cool villain in season 4 up until episode 9, and then he just, you know, took over bodies, and I wasn't as big a fan of him. So yeah, those are a few things that I would change about not only just the Thinker but season 4 as well. Now on to season 5, and I actually really enjoyed this season a lot more than other people, so I actually wouldn't change a whole lot about this season. The biggest thing that I'd change is, the whole entire Cicada storyline pretty much. They should have chose a different actor, first of all, and I think they definitely should have used the OG David Hirsch version of Cicada from the comics. I think that would have been a little bit of a better storyline, and I don't think they should have had like 2 different Cicadas. I think it just should have been David Hirsch the entire season. I think that would have been pretty cool. And I think they could have also used the same Reverse Flash storyline as well while this was happening, because Thawne in this season was a big positive. I wouldn't change anything about what he did, except for the face that he's wearing. I think it should have been Matt Letcher's face as the Reverse Flash in Season 5. And then there's Nora, who I didn't hate, but, was still a bit annoying in this season, especially in the episode where she gets contaminated by the negative Speed Force, and that episode was pretty bad. So I would just change, a few things with her writing, and, I'm not, like, I don't hate her or anything in Season 5. I thought she was alright, but just should change the writing and change a few of the episodes she was in. And who could forget, the Flash's terrible cowl. That might have been the worst part of the season. So yeah, definitely would have given the Flash a different cowl. But yeah, that's about it of what I would change for the first 5 seasons of the Flash. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as what you guys would change in the first 5 seasons of The Flash. Part 2 of this, which will be season 6 through 8, should be coming out in a day or two, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.